Hi, good morning, everybody. Obviously, my name's Conor Lawlor, so as you may be able to tell, I'm Irish, so hopefully you can understand me, but I will try to speak slower. So today we're going to talk about agentic enterprises. Now, before we begin, many of you have probably seen Salesforce presentations before. We always like to begin with our famous safe harbor statement. All this basically means is Salesforce is a publicly traded company, so any purchasing decisions you make should be based upon technology that's currently available today. Also like to start off with a little bit of gratitude. So first and foremost, we really appreciate everybody coming here this morning and spending your time with us. Also like to thank AgileCon, to Marco and Maya and the team for hosting us here today and their continued partnership. It's much appreciated. So for anybody that may not be familiar with Salesforce in the unlikely event, our business model has always been about helping our customers put their customers in the center of their world. And we've been doing this for 26 years. Now, when Salesforce started off, we were the first kind of cloud-based CRM company. And it was primarily focused upon sales. But because it's a platform, it's been constantly evolving. And there's over 26 years of innovation. And whether that's done organically or whether it's done through acquisitions, as we've acquired companies like ExactTarget that became Marketing Cloud, MuleSoft, and recently Slack, and so on. But for the last 11 years, we've also been investing very heavily in AI. And we're in the midst of a transformation at the moment. So speaking for myself, but I'm sure many other people here have lived through a number of transformations in the past 30 years. And again, as we moved from personal computing to the internet to cloud computing and so on, but we're now in an agentic AI transformation. And I could probably say that this is the biggest transformation that everybody in this room is going to live through. Now, we're moving from clicks and forms towards thinking. And if you think about the experiences we have in our personal lives, in types of how we engage with applications, how we have conversations, and now people want to bring that to the business world as well. And this isn't just an incremental shift, it's actually a revolutionary leap. And if you think about that, where you have silos of information, which at the time when decisions were made may have been by design. So you had certain systems, whether it's ERP or whether it's your accounting system or your CRM. And again, that information had what it needed to function. And then you had your traditional workflows or integrations, and typically those experiences were interfaced through forms-based applications. Whereas now we need to think about moving towards conversations. And then not only those conversations with different services, how are you going to orchestrate these agent-to-agent conversations? And we're all probably familiar now with things like agent-to-agent and model context protocol and so on. But another very important piece of that is to be able to have that real-time insight as well. Because with agentic capabilities, it has to make decisions and reason on your behalf. So it needs the necessary context to do that. So what we are actually seeing is that customers are at an inflection point, or businesses are at an inflection point, where they now have to make a decision what way they're going to invest. And typically, we see companies that want to become agentic enterprises. And this is a big shift, and make no mistakes about that. And a lot of thought and consideration has to be brought into that process. But ultimately, each business is going to decide whether, if they do nothing, they'll remain a legacy enterprise. Whereas agentic enterprises are going to have a lot of opportunity with regards to using the power of AI to augment employees, their customer experiences, and so on. But because of this digital labor capability, you're going to have additional capacity with which to scale and grow. And as I said, that offers an awful lot of opportunity to businesses across all enterprises, I suppose, for a better term. But what is an agentic enterprise? And we've kind of broken it down into three sections. An agentic enterprise is conversational and AI first. So think about how you want to interact with these systems. The idea of having this multimodal interface so that in that conversation it can provide an image, a video, a form, or the information that you want, leveraging that data from all the different connected systems that happen to be running in the background. And the idea is that you'll be able to turn every conversation into an action without switching. And this also affords huge opportunity going forward as well, because as you introduce new capabilities, it just becomes intuitive to users. You ask a question, you get a response, you ask it to do something, it takes that action on your behalf. So the idea is that you're actually going to be able to augment every employee. And the idea is that you can shift the focus from where employees spend their time doing repetitive tasks or administrative tasks that can be automated. And also then being able to orchestrate these end-to-end workflows. There's a great example here with regards to a HR process. So say, for example, a company is going through recruiting a new employee. And being able to actually say, I want to give that employee, send out an offer of employment to a candidate that has applied for the job. And the AI being smart enough to know that actually, based upon that utterance, or the intent of what they want to do, we now are going to create their employee record in Workday. We're going to create the contract that we want them to sign in DocuSign, and then we want to send them the email with that offer. And being able to do that through a conversation, just think about how powerful that is. And that's only one simple use case. And I'm sure everybody in this room has got other use cases that are more appropriate to their business. And then the other big thing about AI is, how do you make sure that you have trusted data? And while LLMs are an amazing technology, don't forget they're trained with vast swathes of public information. So how do you bring that trusted data that you have within your business, that you need to give it the context to help it to make that decisions, or grounding those prompts within your data? That's something that's very difficult to do if you don't have the right technology platform to support that. So the idea is then that you can actually amalgamate all that information. I've heard a great expression recently that a lot of businesses have puddles of information. But how do you bring that together to give that context? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment as well. And Salesforce has, as I mentioned, been investing really heavily in this, but it's not just about trying to sell this technology. We are actually customer zero for a lot of this as well. So I'm sure many of you have recently used help.salesforce.com, and you've probably engaged with Agentforce there. This has genuinely been transformational for our business with regards to how we're handling customer requests in a frictionless manner through self-service. We've also, discovered that a lot of people are contacting Salesforce and may not have been responded to. And now that we have agentic SDRs that are contacting everybody back, it has resulted into an increase in pipeline and conversion rates as well. And when customers are coming to our website, because we can understand what they're looking at, we can use that to create marketing pipeline too. But personally, one of the things I love most about where we've innovated is in Slack. So Slack has now become our conversational interface. It's connected to all the various back office systems that we use. So if I need to ask a question, whether it's about an opportunity or an account I'm working on, or a technological question with regards to things like platform limits or something like that, my first place to go now is Slack. And I just ask the question in natural language and I get that information. It's also really great with regards to where fellow colleagues used to come and ask me questions. If I ask that question in Slack, I can forward it on to them, and it's to get they understand. It's a bit like, let me Google that for you, and they become self-sufficient as well. So it's really empowering everybody within the business. And then we even use it to manage our own facilities. So again, you've all these smart buildings, connected systems, access control. Salesforce monitors that on our behalf. So as I mentioned, it's a change of dynamic with regards to how we're delivering software. And we're moving away from your traditional structured data and deterministic hard-coded logic and your traditional forms-based interface towards this ability to leverage the power of both structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data that can be used to give that context when it comes to reasoning. And then this, as I mentioned, this unified interface when it comes to multimodality. So this is something that's really going to help drive productivity for all businesses. And that's why we've now renamed the Salesforce platform to the Agentforce 360 platform. I know many of you are probably familiar with our branding changes over the years. So everything is now Agentforce. So it's no longer Sales Cloud or Service Cloud. It's Agentforce Sales, Agentforce Service, and so on. And the key thing about it being a platform is that this is what powers the different experiences that we provide. And Salesforce is a trusted platform. And this is something that is, we have this expression that trust is our number one value, but trust and security is built into everything that we do. And that has never been more important than it is now. And one of the reasons that we can do that is because it's a metadata-based platform. So that enables you to manage both the users, your data, role-based access control, but understanding what type of data you have and classify it and so on, and understand that semantics across the various different data, whether it's in Salesforce or federated into Data Cloud. And that's the whole thing about having this unified platform, because we're cognizant of the fact that not all data needs to live in Salesforce for it to be actionable. And then it has to be easy to use. And going back to this kind of unified experience, from a change management perspective, once people are familiar with using it, whether it's a conversational interface or back to your traditional Lightning experience, when you introduce new functionality, it just becomes intuitive, second nature to users, and it really simplifies the release process. And then there's things like, how do you deliver new functionality, or how do you build out your own innovations? So we're a no-code, low-code, and vibe-code platform now, and I'm going to explain that in a moment as well. And then obviously the ability to orchestrate these agentic capabilities. So we really operate around 4 domains, so customers, employees, operations, and actually in agents, as well as having industry-specific capabilities too. Now, what we call trailblazers are the people that work on the platform and their ability to innovate and deliver on that. So while Salesforce has kind of traditionally been no-code, low-code, you can actually go in and code and develop your own pixel-perfect customizations should you so wish. We have, as I said, over 21 million people globally building apps or configuring apps or administering the platform. So again, many of you may not have realized the scale and the breadth at which we're operating at. But some interesting figures here as well is the 200,000 agents already delivered. And this number is growing on a daily basis, because we make it easy for you to go in and build and test your agents. And another kind of figure it's quite, I suppose, stunning at this point is the number of workflows and automations that are running on the platform on a monthly basis. Over 524 billion. So again, just imagine that in terms of scale. And the reason why these number of workflows are growing exponentially is because being able to use workflows to get context in terms of data retrieval from various different data sources, but also triggering those workflows and automated actions. And so this is something that's underpinning and powering the power of Agentforce with regards to actually doing stuff after the customer asks a question. And then I suppose the other key thing is, if anybody is aware or not aware of, we have a thing called Trailhead where you can go in and learn. So trailhead.salesforce.com, it's free to use. You can go in and try and build and test. You get your own environment, and you can do, every time you take a trail, you can pass an exam on it. If you get 100 badges, you can get a hoodie and so on. So a moment ago, I mentioned Agentforce Vibes. And this is available today, and it was one of our big announcements at Dreamforce, our conference that was on 2 weeks ago in San Francisco. And Agentforce Vibes is the ability to go in and actually describe what you want to do. And using the power of AI, it'll actually go and build that application for you. So again, if you can think it, it can build it. And it can also deploy it on your behalf as well. And this goes back to the platform. Because of that metadata technology that we use to power the platform, that metadata infrastructure, it has that context around your data. It has enterprise. It understands, the business logic that you want to do. And then using an MCP server, it can actually deploy that on your behalf. Again, this is all done based upon a sandbox, so you can see what's being done before you promote into production. So following application lifecycle management best practice. And again, it can be anything from building apps to Lightning web components to dashboards and workflows. So again, it's available to everybody here that has a Salesforce org today. If you go in, it's on the setup menu. I recommend you take a look at that. And the idea as well is with the platform is that AI is not enough in regards to using large language models. And that's why having that flow of work, understanding what you want to do, is something that you need to give a bit of time and effort and invest in understanding what's going to make the most impact in your business when it comes to deploying AI. Because it should be a journey with regards to pick a use case where it adds value, and then deliver that, and then think about where's the next use case. So I just want to kind of talk quickly about a few features that we announced at Dreamforce before I hand over to Marco. And again, this will be pretty quick. You may have seen a moment ago at the center of the previous slide, we have what's called Data 360. So Data 360 is what was formerly called Data Cloud, and it's our enterprise data lakehouse. But one of the great things about this is that you can amalgamate data from your Salesforce clouds, but from third-party software by ingesting that. But also we have zero copy or federation of data from other data lakes or data warehouses. So again, we announced a large number of new connectors that you can bring all that data, unify, harmonize it. But you can also vectorize unstructured data and use that for things like semantic search as well. And we announced what's called intelligent context. So we understand that lots of businesses have information that's in unstructured formats and things like PDFs or images and so on. And how do you bring that information so that you can use it from an agentic perspective? So this is what intelligent context allows you to bring it in, import these documents, define the chunks, get the insight of the data, the figures that are in charts and tables and so on, and then being able to use that to answer questions that you ask in natural language. We also announced Agentforce Voice. So Voice, we think, is going to be another huge channel. And again, it goes back to this multimodality capability. And this is going GA in America to begin with. We're hoping safe harbor it will be in EMEA in Q1 next year. But having a voice agent where you can go in and speak to in natural language, it will understand, talk back to you, and whether you want to make that available in your over to telephone network or whether you want it on, built into your application, into your mobile app, you can manage that. And there's some great demonstrations of this online as well. And the other big thing that we announced is the change for Agentforce Builder. So you can actually build agents using natural language as well. And this was something that customers needed, was something that they wanted assistance with, because you can actually use Agentforce to help you build agents. And tell the agent what you want it to do, what you don't want it to do as well, and how you can manage its creation. It will also make recommendations around the instructions that you give it so that they can be optimized too. And this also brought in what we call Agentforce Script. And one of the challenges with Agentforce deployments was the non-deterministic element of using an agent. And that was why, it was okay when perhaps you had a human in the loop. So from an employee perspective, when they could reason themselves if something wasn't 100% correct. Whereas people were kind of concerned about if I made an autonomous agent capability that was going to be customer facing. So we understood we need to improve the determinism so that you can confidently know exactly what steps are going to take place when you ask it an instruction. So we've created Agentforce Script. We can actually use a canvas that will transform your instructions into Agentforce Script. And for developers, they can go in and tweak the script if they want with regards to if this, then that type logic that you're going to build in to make sure that your agents are as deterministic as possible. And we also have Agentforce for IT service. So the idea is that you can use your ITSM process within the business so that can be handled with an autonomous agent or creating IT tickets for if somebody has a problem with their laptop or something like that. And we also have that configuration CMDB, so your configuration management database. So again, helping you orchestrate things like patch management on your systems. So that's something that we announced at Dreamforce 2. And then finally, when we think about Agentforce, because we have so many industry clouds, whether it's telco or media or financial services, we have hundreds of agentic capabilities that are industry focused. So again, and these are constantly being rolled out on a monthly basis. There's new pre-built capabilities that you can either use out of the box or else you can further extend them yourselves. So I recommend you go and take a look at that. It's up on our website whenever you get the opportunity. And with that, I'll hand it over to Marco, and thank you once again for your time and engagement. I said I'm around all day. Thanks. Cheers. Cheers. Thank you.